On this episode of Every Single Morning, is it possible to develop meaningful relationships with someone that you've met online? We're about to discuss that right here on Every Single Morning. Welcome to Every Single Morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Tanja. And
I'm O'Shea.
there we go. We're finally moving and grooving. I'm feeling this. So, just because the show is called Every Single Morning doesn't mean that we go on every single morning. But the purpose of this is to have real discussions with the two of us who are real people dealing with real lives and how to go about it. I think that's the best way to sum it all up. Don't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
All righty. So, if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Like
Oh,
this,
that's right.
comment, let us know how we're doing, and most of all, subscribe to this channel.
Subscribe right now.
Subscribe because we're going to get better and better every single episode because we're finally getting in the swing of things. And let me tell you something, it's just going to go up, 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 up. So you want to be a part of us in our humble beginnings because when we blow up, you can't say that you were there with us from the beginning.
And we give prizes to our subscribers. So
This is
subscribe.
true. This is absolutely true. So, topic of discussion. Can you have a meaningful relationship online? So, that is our topic for today. And I believe we can. So, I'm going to start with O'Shea. What do you think?
Well, we absolutely can. If anything, the pandemic proved that because we had no choice but to establish friendships and every other ship online because you could not go anywhere. The previous things that people have said about being online and about things not being real if it's online, we've had to rethink that because the pandemic forced us to be absolutely online, even to the point where Spectrum and other companies like it was giving away free online access because that was the only way of communication. Even churches that were old and antiquated had to come out of all of that and actually be technical. You had to date online. You had to have your meal in front of you and your wine and all of that and just do stuff online. And some of the greatest connection, even more than family, I have made online.
Mm-hmm. And from personal experience, the greatest deliverance you could ever endure can come from online, especially when you're in a laundry bag.
Mhm.
um, so, yeah, you can develop a wonderful and meaningful relationship with the exception of hardship because O'Shea was talking about any ship. No, hardship online is a hard pass.
Well, we like to pass it, but you can develop hardship online, i.e., cyberbullying. So
Yeah, this is true.
that is hardship.
This is true.
We don't want to talk about it, but that is a ship that you can develop online. And I must admit, that ship, I was like, I don't get it. Just turn off the computer.
I'm telling you. These keyboard gangsters just have the cojones to just say whatever they want to say without penalty, but you wouldn't say these things if you were to see these individuals in person. So I'm like, why don't you have that same coof?
Well, here's the thing. In recent years, I don't know if you looked at it, but they have went to visit people for things that they've said online. Like, what's that you said on Facebook? I'm here now. What?
I'm outside.
I'm out. Look, that brings me to the cliche. I'm outside. How about that?
Exactly. I'll be like Jada Kiss from the Locks and be like, I'm outside. So it's that energy, man. You got to be very careful what you say to people online, because those of us, especially those of us who are researchers for a living, could turn around and dig up information on you and find out where you live. But I'm just saying,
or if it gets heated enough, I could give you my address and tell you. I can alleviate all your research if it gets hot enough.
But we are peaceful people. We don't do that.
We have heated fellowship. It's not fighting. We just have heated fellowship.
We have heated fellowship and pray that we don't use our holy hands to prove a point.
We do lay hands, just not in that way.
Exactly. So I'm going to give a special shout out to my sister and my bestie, and that's Cheryl. She and I have been friends for over 11 years. Oh my gosh, January, we're about to go into our 12th year as friends come January. So
friends.
How many of us have them friends? Because, oh my God. And the beauty about our friendship, out of all the stuff that we've been through, ups, downs, marriage, divorce, people intervening in our friendship, we've been through it all. And the ironic part about it is, we never physically met in person after all these years. We will someday, don't get it twisted. Mm-hmm. But our bond, we had to develop over years, and it has become so strong. And what made this particular friendship even more valuable is the fact that both of us hardly ever had female friendships. There was always some sort of drama, some sort of this, that, and the third. But what made ours so interesting and so different, that in spite of it all, we kept going. And especially during those times when I would just push people away just because, she was just a stickler and said, you can push me all you want, I ain't going nowhere. And I thank God for that, because when I suffered from having a toxic trait, let's just put it out there, because of the fact that we sometimes carry, if we're not healed, set free, and delivered from these entities, toxic traits. And once you acknowledge it, deal with it, and remove it from your life once and for all, you can have the most healthiest of friendships once toxic traits are removed from your equation.
Exactly. You have to remove those toxic traits, because sometimes the issue is you. The issue is you. we like to make the issue other people, but the issue can sometimes be us. Okay, let me take a step back and look at me and see what might be in me that is causing this. But to our topic, when you're talking about developing meaningful relationships online, just because it's online does not mean that it does not take work.
Agreed.
Even though you have a relationship online, it's still a relationship, and you only get out of it what you pour into it. So, okay, let's say you have a friendship that is online. There's gonna be every so often pouring into it Zoom calls. Sometimes me and Tanja and Cheryl, we just get on the Zoom call and play music. Ain't gonna tell you what music because I still gotta keep my day job. But but we just get on there. Just know it ain't gospel. Um, we still have to invest and pour into that relationship. And the reason why people may say that you cannot develop meaningful relationships online is because they're not willing to feed from afar. And it's all about what you're willing to feed. Because if you don't feed a relationship, it's going to die.
Yep.
Think about those couples whose spouses are serving in the military and they have to be deployed in a way. They have no choice but to develop their relationship online. A really popular show came out of developing meaningful relationships, and I think sometimes too meaningful because it was too meaningful, if that is possible, because catfish, they sent them people money and all this stuff. Oh, that's my friend, or I'm dating them, or I'm like, that's meaningful. That's a meaningful relationship. When somebody sends you thousands of dollars online and never don't know you from Adam, that's a meaningful relationship. That's
Absolutely.
that's a meaningful relationship.
Don't get me started with the whole catfish thing.
Mhm.
I could talk about stories of me being catfished.
Really, really. Well, that maybe should be our next episode.
It
Talk
might
about
be.
catfish.
It might be because ooh wee. It's
Yes.
amazing what type of relationships that you can develop over the phone, and I'm talking about the late '80s, early '90s. The fact that you could just be on a telephone relationship with somebody and then never see them in person, and then the one time you see them in person, they want to pretend like you don't exist because you don't appear to be what they think you look like, but
Mm,
whatever.
mm,
So, but yeah, you can develop meaningful relationships online. Case in point, there is a show that I highly recommend anybody who's watching this broadcast that you purchase and download the Kev on Stage Studios app. Highly recommend it. And there's this show on the streaming service. That's what they want to call it because that's what it is.
mm,
It's called Love on Stage, and Kev's wife Melissa hosts it, and it's basically hooking up three women, three different age brackets, three different lifestyles. Well, most of them are similar, but still, and hooking them up with men that comes relatively close. The audience gets to match them up, and we get to watch the process as to how they develop their relationships. And one couple who were in their 20s, one is in their early 30s, but the other is in their 20s, just celebrated a birthday. Um, I already see them going down the aisle in a year or so. I already see it.
Oh,
I already see it. I already see it. We have already proclaimed it in the comment section. We all have already seen it. Stevie Wonder can see it. It's going to happen.
mm,
The second couple who are in their 30s, they were both like, when they both found out that they were chosen to be together. They didn't jump for joy about it at first, but as they got to know one another, they were like, hey, we have a lot more in common than we thought. And let me tell you, this gentleman right here, he gives true meaning to the word Southern boy. And I'm like, I am so glad that you're with this woman, because if you weren't, I would take you for myself. But anyway, but I see a budding relationship that is in the getting to know you phase and could blossom into something even more beautiful. Now, the couple in their 40s, and it kind of hurts me here because I'm in that age bracket. And the woman, we are a lot alike. So, and when we were choosing who should be with whom, unfortunately, I was one of those individuals who chose this person. And woo! Aries, if you're watching, I am so sorry. So, yeah, that's pretty much a done deal. Nothing, they're just going through the motions at this point. So, what I admire about this young lady is the fact that she knows what she wants. She's confident in who she is. And unless you make the effort on your part, she's only going to go with you, but so far. And I admire that about her. So the most recent episode that I watched was game night. So this is the first time all 6 people are in the same room together. And they're playing one of our favorite games, categories. But instead of it being categories, they call it sexagories. So basically the categories that's in relation to the letter, it has to be something of a risque factor. So it could be something as general as pet peeves, but then on the other hand, it could be something freaky. Like there is nothing better than having blank at night, and you have to find the word from that letter that was thrown, what's in relation. So for example, the letter T, when the letter T was brought, the question was, then it was the last question. Nothing is more satisfying than blank at night with your partner. Blank at night with your partner. And one person in the group said tea. Now, you could take the tea 2 ways. It can be tea as in Lipton tea and just sipping it at night. Or it could be tea as in gossiping with the person about somebody else's life. One or the other. They weren't clear, but listen, I would take the second tea for 100, Alex, because it's one thing to gossip with your girlfriend. It's a whole different category when you gossip with your partner. It is hilarious. I know we shouldn't be gossiping, but I'm just saying it's fun. So I say all that to say You can have meaningful relationships online, but you have to put in the work, as it has been mentioned. And most importantly, not only do you have to put in the work, but you also have to seem interested.
Wow.
You have to seem interested, because it's nothing worse than to talk to somebody or look at somebody and then they're just not engaged in the conversation that you're having with them. And then you have to be like, what's the matter with you? Am I talking to myself here? There's nothing like that. So,
Yeah.
this is my opinion.
And then too, the person has to be interesting. I'm sorry. I've had some relationships, romantic and friendships. And I'm like, um, you put me to sleep. You put me to sleep. I'm like, you're the great. We're friends because you help me sleep. That's what you
That
do.
is horrible.
We're
Horrible.
friends because you help me sleep. And
Horrible.
I remember, I remember being, I don't know why I agreed to this, but I agreed to go to a Rangers game
Okay.
with a friend of mine, and it was like watching paint dry. It was like watching paint dry. And I'm like, oh my God, I would do anything to get out of here. And I had I've had people to where ever since that day when I go somewhere with somebody, I always tell somebody, hey, around so and so, call me.
Oh my gosh.
Especially because the person just bless their heart. They just bless their heart. But you have to be interesting if you're going to build on the relationship. And the way that you can do that is find out what the other person likes. Find out what the other person likes and see how you can mesh that up together. Like I don't like baseball, but I play baseball.
Okay.
I played baseball before for a wheelchair league. Um, and we were called the Angels. However,
But y'all end up playing like devils.
yeah, however, we ended up playing like devils, but we were called the Angels, and um, so I like playing it, but watching it, I'm like, God, get me out of here. And it's like, how do people? I started questioning people. Like, how do you sit there for hours on end and watch this? Cause I didn't got my whole nap out. I woke up at the eighth inning.
Oh wow. Wow. They had a 7 inning stretch. You didn't even stretch?
No, I was straight sleep. I'm telling you, I was straight sleep, and I don't know whether this guy he was into the game or not, but he never looked over. Because if he looked over, he'd have saw me sleep.
You would have sawed your head down like this.
No, I was actually with the head back like this.
Oh no. And especially if you were in that deep sleep, you called the cows, the chickens, and everybody else to come in.
Now, I hadn't developed my snore yet. Now, I don't know if I do now, but I didn't develop my snore.
Mm-mm.
So the only way he would have known is if he looked over.
Wow. That actually reminds me of the time when I went to a baseball game in person. And it's different when you're watching it on TV because at least you hear the commentary.
Mm-hmm.
But to watch a game with no commentary, with nothing else going on, let me tell you. Number one, first of all, it was the original Yankee Stadium. I will always love that opportunity, and I will always be blessed with that opportunity because I got the tickets from a fundraiser at one of my old jobs. I am so glad I got those tickets because the tickets that we ended up getting were right behind home plate. So those were the best tickets ever. So you literally had a front row seat. Okay.
Okay.
However,
Mm.
the game didn't interest me, but everything else around me did. So when the dude giving
Like
out the
what?
Cracker Jacks came out, I grabbed some of those. When the hot dog guy came out, I grabbed some of those.
Oh, so you were just eating?
Yes, pretty much. When the T-shirt guy came out with the T-shirt gun, I was waving to see if they were shooting in my direction. It went over my head. So I was paying attention to all the other activities but the actual game. Me and my friend at the time. We were both doing that. And we left at the bottom of the eighth inning. We left
Mm-hmm.
because they were losing anyway. So we left. It was good to get out of the stadium before the rush.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's why.
yeah. And I guess it's different when you're, like you say, on TV. But ironically, I heard the announcer at the game. It still didn't make a difference because even he was dull and boring. And I'm like, help me, God, get me out of here.
Help me. But yeah. But guess what? I have had more fun doing online games on a Zoom call than I have with people in person. I think that is really baffling to me, especially when we play one of our favorite games, which we haven't played in a while, by the way. One's Gotta Go.
Okay.
We need to play that. Even though the game is physical, I read off the question. Which one of these has to go?
Will Smith. I mean,
You know what? Oh my God.
no.
I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. I'm not doing it.
See, we're developing meaningful friendship right now. We're actually showing you how to do this. We're actually showing you how to do this. And I'm not there and she's not here, but we are. This is how we are all the time online. And oh my gosh, if Cheryl was here,
My goodness.
it would just be total bananas.
She would literally be on camera eating her popcorn, literally, and you and I go off on one of our infamous debates.
Yes. Or she would be, just saying, well, sister, dad does this because she's my lawyer, y'all. Everything, she's the lawyer. She's going to make sure that you know that I have the best intentions. I can tell her, Cheryl, I just robbed the bank.
Well, she'll advocate for me on occasion, but mostly it's for him.
Yeah, she will. She'll say, now, Dad, you know, T is this, T is that, T is the other. And I'm like, yeah. I said, well, Cheryl, you always trying to play the nice one. So, and me and Tanja, we're the two, we're kind of like, Cause
And
I'll never forget that time she called us and she said, uh, I don't want to say the preacher's name. She said, but he is really sorrowful and he's really he's really going through, and I just feel for him. And me and Todd just like,
no, Cheryl, no, that's not true.
we like whatever. We're unbothered.
Cheryl will forever be the woo 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 girl, because every time when she has empathy and compassion for another, she will turn around and go woo 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 woo. That's Sinclair from Living Single.
Living Single.
But she is the balance that holds this group together.
Yeah, because we need it.
Because sometimes O'Shea and I will go blow for blow on certain subjects.
We are like Maxine Shaw, attorney.
Pretty much. And Khadijah. So, but the best part about our relationship is the fact that we can agree to disagree. We don't have to constantly bump each other in the head until somebody breaks down and be like, all right, you're right, you're right, you're right. We can agree to disagree. We can both stand on our beliefs and stand on our firms and just be able to agree to disagree, because we're not always going to agree on everything.
No, because that would just be boring.
Very boring.
Because to me, it reminds me of Coming to America, when he meets his person he's supposed to be in an arranged marriage with, and he asks her, what do you like? And she says, whatever you like. And what are your ideas? Whatever your idea. I was like, oh no, I don't want to be friends. No new friends. Because you want variety in your friendship. If they have to agree like you, if they have to, basically be you, that's going to be boring. Because you'll find out that if you meet somebody just like you, you'll find out that you don't even like you.
Okay. Okay.
Not all of your ideas. Now, some things you do, but not all of your ideas. Because I said some things to Tanja and Cheryl that I'm like, that was better in my head. Now that it's actually out loud, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Sometimes in my head, when O'Shea comes up with some things, and I listen to him very intentfully, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, what the what? But majority of the time, I'm like, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. But like I said, there are times that we can agree to disagree. So,
yes,
it's all about building that meaningful relationship online.
It's all about building it. And that's the key. That's the key word, building. Because in building, you have to lay the foundation. In building, you have to lay the structure. In building, you have to put the cement There's work that you have to do to build something. And a lot of time people don't want to do the work. A lot of time people don't want to do the work in the friendship and then wonder why they don't have none.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to do the work. You don't want to invest in the relationship. Also, I want to say this, even though you can develop meaningful relationships online, everybody is not your friend.
Talk about that.
Everybody is not your friend. And so you have to differentiate also too which one of these are friends and which one of these are, they come up with a new term, frenemies.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's just either or. You either a friend or an enemy. We ain't no frenemies. Because, I just keep you close. That way, I know where you are.
True.
But if we don't like each other, I'd rather let that be known. I really don't care for you that much. I love you as a brother in Christ or a sister in Christ, but we're never gonna go out and eat chicken fingers together. I'm gonna may the Lord watch between me and thee, Lord, one from another. And keep us in perfect peace until we meet again.
Oh my. Oh my.
Now, for y'all to understand what I just said, you would have to have the revelation of what that actually means. I thought it was a perfect way to end church.
And so did a lot of other churches.
But thanks to Cheryl, I now see that they had issues when they were saying that. And
It's the epitome of drawing the line.
They did set boundaries in the Bible.
They sure did.
So, some people are not your friends, and it's up to you to determine which ones they are. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you. But if you find a friend, invest the time. A lot of times I tell people all the time, if I make time for you, because by now y'all already know I'm a leader in the church, and so I have broadcasts, I have all kinds of stuff to do outside of this, and so if I make time for you, I'm making the investment into the friendship. Not necessarily I have time, but you make time for that you want to build on.
Hence the reason why he's on this podcast with me today. Because
and I just love doing stuff like this. This feeds me. A lot of time people will say this is work, but no, this actually feeds me. This actually feeds me. This is like my greatest me time. To just sit on here and talk about something that has nothing to really, unless God steps in, to do with church.
Yep.
To just relax, and I ain't got to come up with a scripture or a prayer or to just step back and just be an individual.
Because at the end of the day, that's who we are. So
yeah.
And plus, with O'Shea not only being my pastor, but my spiritual father, he's also keeping me accountable for this podcast specifically because of the fact that I've been talking about having a podcast on YouTube for how long? For a while, pretty much. But between working, doing this, that, and the third, getting all my other business together, I never had time. Well, guess what, beloved? I have time. So, um, and he keeps me accountable by doing these broadcasts. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm grateful and I'm appreciative that he's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, anyway, I think this is a perfect time to cap off this episode. So, let the people know where they can find you, sir.
All right. Well, y'all know I have my slides. I don't even have to give handles anymore. I can just show pictures. You can meet me on TikTok at Outpouring of Life. I am. Um, it's on TikTok where basically it's a 3-minute motivational message or something that I just want to share with my TikTok fan base. Or you can check me out on Instagram at Outpouring OL, where you can ironically tune into our Post with Impact every Sunday morning. Shameless plug. Um, you can tune in there, and that's just a pre warm up before you go into service. And then there is Facebook. Like us on Facebook at OPLI Ministries. You can also find us there, and that will be where most of our services and stuff that have to do with the church are. And that's the way you can reach me. Um, if you want to find me, because I really don't have too much personal stuff. Everything is connected to the church because Tanja knows I'm very ministry oriented.
That
When
he
it
is.
comes to anything, I'm like, yeah, and we can do that for church. And she's like, no, for you, no, for the
Another one of our banters that we have.
church. Because I'm so ministry oriented. I see ministry in everything. I I do, and I don't. I have just developed that, so that's why everything is connected to the church. But I will say that I have a YouTube channel called O'Shea Social Club,
Yes, he does.
and I didn't create a flyer for that, so y'all just have to search that on YouTube, O'Shea's Social Club, and that is right now where I give 100 days of motivation, and we are on day 52, I think. I got a lot of work to do, y'all. um, we're on day 52, so those are the places that you can find me.
Oh, amen. I'm habit, habit. So basically, you can find me all in one place at tanjaewithers.com. You'll find all of my social media handles. You can purchase my books there. You can listen to my podcast, The Realities of Being Single, there.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that's in regards to me via the interwebs, you will find it all right here on this platform, tanjaewithers.com. And we just thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, be here with us right here, same place, same time, every single morning, but not every single morning. Bye bye.
Bye bye.